All right, we're on air. Today is Thursday, May 23rd. Yeah, May 23rd. It's always good to know the date. And this meeting's to check in on active design and user experience tasks for Backdrop CMS. Starting with backdropcms.org, there's a couple of things that we are working on actively. Our sandbox seems to be sometimes working, sometimes not. I noticed we got some more testing on that recently with some more steps to reproduce where if you're not logged in, it always fails the first time. But if you are logged in, it always works the second time. So there's just, have, I think, something that will help us figure out exactly what the problem is with getting them fired up. Next is documenting upgrade paths for modules in core. This is not so much a design related issue, but we do need to figure out a way to make this information more readily available to people. So this could be like an information architecture issue, where right now we have one page that lists all the modules that were moved into core, and every one of those modules is going to have its own page with instructions on how to upgrade or how much of the module is in core, all of that information that people need to know. And we need to find a way to make that more browsable. So we can definitely like manually link all of the text in that article, but I think it will be better if we put in a view. And if we're going to put in a view, we might want to make that like searchable or sortable. So if you're looking for something in particular, you can do that. So just ideas on the kinds of user experience you want to have as somebody who's upgrading from Drupal 7 to be able to go and find the information you need on which modules are in Backdrop and how much work you're going to have to do to get your remaining ones moved over, all of the functionality on your current site. That module is number 5527. That might just be the documentation meta. Maybe we should create a specific issue about information architecture. I don't know, you can add it there. We can figure out how to do it. And then the next one is to improve the experience of searching for modules, themes, or layouts on backdropcms.org. And that is a place where we're also going to integrate in all of this information about modules that are not necessary in Backdrop because they've been moved to core, or modules that maybe work differently in Backdrop than they did in Drupal. So we have a content type where we're going to be documenting all the upgrade stuff. We're also going to be using that for modules that you don't need in Backdrop, and those will hopefully respond to the same search box on the modules page that lists modules, and we'll just put them in the sidebar on that page. So when you do a search, it'll give you modules on one side and things that aren't modules on the other. And hopefully that'll work with our module page design, which we haven't tried putting them together yet. But hopefully we can still do that in a way that makes sense. Backdrop the product, user experience issues. We have only one major issue that we want to highlight in terms of user experience, which is getting promoted modules into the installer. That is a several step process where we need to update our feed that tells Backdrop which modules are available in order to be able to indicate which ones are promoted. And then when we pull them in, we need to be able to show them differently on our site, which should be as simple as having a CSS class added, and that class is targeted differently so we can do something with it. Oh, and they need to be at the top. But hopefully that'll come from project module, put them at the top. So it's a little bit complicated because getting them out into project module is not a view, it's a hard-coded feed. And so we need to figure out how to get that fixed. And then once we have that data there, we can start to manipulate it in project browser and core.
If someone points me to the code, I would like to explore that. We've been discussing it for long.
Project module?
Yeah, which bit of the, which bit generates the feed.
Okay. And then for design issues, there's one that we're going to talk about today, which is adding predefined color schemes to Basis. Joseph, thank you for helping me iterate over all of the little tiny color shifting bits in the footers. I think they all look good and accessible right out of the box, which is a great starting point. There was one issue that came as a follow-up to that, which I'm not sure is a design issue, but we might want to run it by Wes to make sure it's what he had intended. But on the header in Basis, the primary navigation links have a hover color on them, but the account links at the top are also acting like the primary navigation links. So it's really, there's no visual difference between the two of them. So like if you only have one link in the main navigation or two and two links at the top, there it looks really similar. And most sites that I've seen, the account links are kind of muted and designed so that your focus is on the navigation of the site. And I would love to get that same feel in Backdrop. So I was thinking about removing the hover color and adding an underline instead, and that might be enough of a visual difference that people wouldn't struggle from them being too similar. And so I opened an issue for that. If anyone has feelings on that issue,
Right.
you're free to jump in. But
Yeah, I actually added that.
Oh,
I don't remember where the ticket is, but before I did that, it actually did nothing at all. And so I was like, this should do something. And so I
Yeah.
just made it act like the other ones.
okay. I don't know if Wes even had a plan for what that was supposed to do. They might have just been nothing, but
I agree though that most of the sites that I come across, they just have an underline. It's sort of like different than the main navigation, I guess, and less prominent.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, underlining might be better. Yeah.
Is it going to be hard, Joseph, to get that to work with all of the color module stuff? Because right now, all of the colors change, like do a find and replace on that. If I'm just wondering if there's going to be any cascading changes, or if we just remove color from one place, it'll just be easy. It'll just work. I don't know.
You'll probably
We'll try
have to clear caches. Yeah, I think clearing caches would fix it.
Okay. Next, we have a handful of print design items. So creating a backdrop pop-up banner for events, working on stickers, and I don't know, business cards is back on this list, I think, because someone requested them, but I know we have a completed design for those. So I don't know, I don't remember why this ended up back on our list. I might have just put it there because it's like, I don't know why it's there. I've forgotten. If anyone knows, let me know. And also for soliciting things, if there are any particular designer user experience issues that are high priority, or that anyone thinks is high priority, it would encourage anyone in the issue queue to tag them with milestone candidate labels in the same way that our code heavy issues get tagged with those, and that will bubble them up and make them available to prioritize and talk about in these meetings too.
I just checked, by the way. It only regenerates style sheets if you save theme settings or import config. So
okay.
that we might want to change that so it'll regenerate them when you clear caches.
Or, I mean, if we push this change in a core update, we could put in the update instructions, must clear caches, or just make sure it goes into an update that has something where someone has to run update.php, and that'll force, oh wait, will that, I don't know.
Yeah, I think update DB only clears caches.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good idea. I don't know that we need to make it so that it regenerates all of the CSS stuff every time all caches are cleared. That might be heavy-handed, but I think doing it every time update.php is run makes sense.
Do we clear caches when we submit the form in the color settings thing page?
No, that just regenerates the files and it doesn't do anything else.
We could also put in an update hook that regenerates files along with that change. Oh wait, do update hooks and themes get run? We could put it in system or something, but I don't know that themes
update hooks.
I feel like some themes might have update hooks, but that might, our core themes don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've never seen a theme with a .install file.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because another thing is, like, we've done a bunch of changes to Basis before, and we've never done anything to force regenerating the files that any other time.
But we've never had colors before.
Oh, we've had it for 3 versions now.
No, she meant color changes.
Yeah, there's never been anything to regenerate until 1.13 because everybody's only. Oh, you mean if they'd used color to change Basis's color?
Right. If they had used it prior, then
yeah,
then none of our changes would have showed up.
Interesting.
So, but if they don't change it, it'll just continue having the current effect.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they have already decided what they want, but they can't make, so right now there's no ability to remove the color from one of the header links and not from the other.
No, you'd have to make a CSS change for that.
Yeah. I still feel like this is an improvement, even if we like forcibly change someone's site. But it is tricky.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my gut is that we should regenerate the files when we push the change to the theme. And if the only way we can do that is by adding an update hook, I would prefer to add it in a core module than in the theme, in the BSys theme.
All right. Would it be a good idea to make it so that it regenerates the files anytime an update is run?
Yes, I think that's also sensible. Yeah, I just had second thoughts. I don't know. I feel like that makes sense because then we could push other changes more easily in the future. But I wonder if it might be problematic. I mean, I can't imagine why regenerating the files would be problematic unless there was a problem with the files getting regenerated, right? Like unless there was some kind of bug in that process. So I think that's fine.
If your website sold themes and you had 100+ themes enabled, then it might be a problem. Otherwise, I don't think.
And all of them are using color support.
Right.
Yeah. Well, even then it should batch somehow. Maybe that's another issue. But let's start with regenerate on update because that's definitely an edge case.
Okay.
Once we get a bunch of backdrop sites selling themes, I would be very happy to fix that problem. Okay, I think that's all of the things on our agenda. Does anyone have anything else they want to talk about today? Nope.
Not design related.
Okay.
I've got something design kind of related. The demo button that we have been having intermittent problems with.
Yes.
At one point, there was some styling that had been in place to like center things and change font sizes and things like that.
Yes.
But it's not on backdropcms.org anymore. Was that removed at some point?
It might have been because my gut is that it was not added to the Borg contrib theme, that it was added specifically to backdropcms.org. However, there is now a base theme and a sub theme on backdropcms.org. So the next time anyone wants to add any CSS that's specific to backdropcms.org, we have a way to do that. But that was not there until this most recent round of changes. So it is likely that it got removed. But we could just check out a previous branch, find the changes, and then pull them out, throw them in the sub theme. So it's not going to be hard to get them back.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah, I ran into that a couple of times where I'm like, I feel really bad putting very specific code for backdropcms.org into a contrib theme.
Right.
Nate, we seem to have progress. So I consistently get the same behavior that I get as a logged-in user now with anonymous users. They at least get a message that say try later, and after a couple of tries, the demo gets created.
So it does still occasionally fail then.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least it fails the same way for logged in and logged out people now. Yeah.
Previously, logged out users and anonymous users didn't even get an indication of. It was just a spinning wheel and nothing happened after that.
Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else, why don't we go ahead and wrap this meeting? We will meet again in about 20 minutes to talk about active development tasks for BackdropCMS. If any of you have anything you think needs to be adopted for the 114 milestone, feel free to bring that up in today's developer meeting.
Before we wrap
Now
up,
we'll pick something.
just the last thing, since we're talking about the demo, once it's working the way that we want it to work, what are the plans to, where are we meant to place it? Like, is it going to replace the
Pantheon button.
The Pantheon button?
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Okay.
And we have a whole page that should list all of the different ways to install Backdrop. That is, I think, a view, and I think there's a content type of install methods, or I don't know, there's some content type for that. So as we start to have more people have different ways to install Backdrop, we can add them. So there's like a Lando page and a DDEV page and a Pantheon page and a platform page right now. And so that way the demo is just a demo, and then if you want it yourself, all of the information is elsewhere. All right.
The link for Pantheon is going to move over to that Pantheon page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it won't be a Pantheon. Well, I guess there will. I think all of those aren't individual pages. I think they have the rabbit hole setting on, so you can't access them individually. But there's one list that'll show like 5 things. So the Pantheon button will just be in that list, and there's a little bit more information. Like you must have a Pantheon account.
Because as far as I'm aware, that button's the only way to actually set up a Backdrop site on Pantheon.
That is correct, unless you're me, because it's in my company's account. All right.
Are those pages you just mentioned? Are those built yet? They're not live yet, right?
They are, but you can't access them by URL. You can only access them via view, and there's no view yet. So, yeah, I think that's
a different meaning of live than I was thinking.
Live. I mean, they exist, and they're not unpublished, but you can't see them.
All right.
Yeah. Luke, you're an editor. Are you an editor?
I know. Like technically, I can see them.
Yeah.
Now I know where to look for them.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then we'll meet again in a little bit. All right. Bye,
See you guys.